paintbrush. I need the paint. Paintbrush. Pass me the paintbrush. I need the paint. Paintbrush. Pass me the paintbrush. I need the paint. It's so hard to live. I'm sorry, man. Hard to love. I'm taking my heart back.
I don't want anybody to feel like they're forced to, you know. But and so okay, one of the things I feel like I've had the except for Zombie, he's forced. He's working on that.
Fine print, yeah.
Yeah. Part of the basement rules, correct. I think that's what he's working on is the basement lighting. So I feel like one of the biggest things, and it's I feel like it's slightly different when you're in a relationship, but like I know a lot of men being lonely. The older I've gotten, the smaller my friend group has gotten, and more like I slightly different when it comes because of streaming, but like when I don't stream, like my friend group, my personal friend group, myself, not VOP, but my name's Danny. My friend group for me personally is very limited, very small, because people have got married, they've got, you know, girlfriends, kids, you know, working these working jobs, all this type of stuff. It's become I'm very, when I don't stream or anything, like I spend more time by myself, I think, now than I ever have my entire life, you know. I used to have dozens of friends and in my phone, and I would just be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And we just go out and do stuff. But like the older I've gotten, the more my friend group has shrank, and the more I find myself just like, I'm comfortable by myself and in quiet, but like I go do things by myself all the time. Go baseball games, sporting events, movies and stuff like that. But then I see people with their friends and I'm like, fuck, dude, like I don't like I'm a lot more alone than I think sometimes, you know? And like I'm grateful and I'm lucky that like I have made friends like this, like, you know, to have people come out and, you know, support during the Vopathons or streams, or we just hang out and talk or play video games, you know. And I'm grateful to have that, but I know a lot of people don't have that, you know. And it's kind of difficult to express that you know, like it could be lonely sometimes, you know.
Yep.
And I know I know it can be easier, you know, and when you get, you know, a significant other, you've got kids, but it's a different type of, I mean, it's lonely in its own way, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
now,
makes sense.
do you guys, I mean, how do you guys deal with some of that type of like some of those type of like loneliness, you know?
It's so what you've talked about, you touched on like different points, and I know you said like no jokes and stuff like that, but but just like as a reference point, kind of is I remember jokingly saying that like Elden Ring Night Rain is possibly the hardest Dark Souls game.
Sure.
Because you have to make friends, you know.
Yeah.
Compared to other Dark Souls, which are like solo. And I was actually thinking about it recently, Vop, where like I didn't have this before. I didn't have like Discord servers that I could just like hop into where people are sitting in voice and then like just chat with peeps and stuff like that. I didn't have that before. Before I would boot up and just like, I don't know what I'm playing, and the most social game I had was any MMORPG game that I had like installed at the time. I didn't have like, yo, you trying to boot up, you trying to play, stuff like that. And now I am playing and collaborating like we're doing Elden Ring. I'm playing and collaborating with people who I've never ever met in person in my life. But we all were just like, we all like this thing. I like this thing. Let's hang out together. And I get to geek out on a platform with other people who play video games, which has been a really fun experience. This has probably been one of the greatest things, like since streaming and being on Twitch, you know?
Right.
But I like I remember that loneliness, and I used to just fill the air or fill the time with something. I used to spend a lot of time on YouTube. I say it jokingly where I'm just like I'm roaming these Twitch streets. It's I legit Twitch is like my TV.
Yeah.
I flip through channels, you know, whoever's live, I sit in there and I lurk and I'm just like, oh look, like a familiar face, a familiar voice, and I will just sit in there, you know, and it's just fun. Again, Twitch streaming and Twitch streamers, it's a very parasocial relationship, you know. They'll be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, dude, like I've been following you and like listening to you like since forever, but like you guys never met in person or had probably ever had like a real conversation." And then like they know all these things about you, and
Yeah.
then you're just like, "Oh yeah, you're blue name on Twitch, dude. Yeah, sick." Uh, but yeah, that's how I used to deal with it, and I've noticed for a very long time that uh I always have background noise. So like I do spend a lot of time at home and stuff like that, but usually have like a lot of background noise. That
Mhm.
being like you when you play with like Bonka and Hurricane, uh whoever is like streaming and playing. Friends are always like, I bet he has like 7 streams up. And it's like, yeah, because I got like 7 people that I could possibly hang out with, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
true.
kind of sick.
Yeah.
But that's
And
kind of how I've been dealing with it. It's not like the ultimate or best one, but that's kind of how I've noticed like habitually what I've been doing.
yeah. And so like when I mean joking, like I said, we all yeah, you're welcome to come in. Also, you know, Audacity, Jay, thank you guys for coming in. It's not a requirement to have your camera on, but I mean, I love seeing your handsome face, you know. A little caramel king over there.
Jay's turned his on,
Right.
so give me a second. Jay turned
But
his on, so I'm back.
Skill
I'm back.
issue.
and when I mean joking wise, it's like I don't just making fun of, you know, like somebody how they feel. Like we all make jokes, like I said, to kind of we all make jokes to try and deal with that type of uh feelings, you know. So I don't mind that type of stuff. It's more so of like making fun of somebody because of something. But jokes are fine, you know.
Mhm.
But yet, but I don't mean that's what I mean by joking. I don't necessarily. It doesn't mean, you know, look at all these handsome faces in here. Gee.
Right? The beard gang is crazy.
Yo, that's right.
Audacity.
Yeah, that beard gang's on point, dude. But that's more what I mean is
Like condescending.
making fun
or
of
put down
somebody. Yeah,
jokes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Respectfully rag on each other, but don't take it too far.
yeah, it's as long as it's in jest and in love, not in like legitimately, you know,
Mhm.
putting somebody down.
It's
But
kinda-
yeah, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of funny because like Castle just came in your chat and that's like one of my best
Oh.
homies, but it's like I talk so much trash about him. Like
Mhm.
that's like
Yeah.
that's like our communication is just roasting the crap out of each other. You know what I mean? But it's like it's all love. You know what I mean? Like it's not we never like demean anybody, but I think like men just talk in that way. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah.
And that's what I mean. As long as it's in
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 jest.
in that type of manner, you know. Yeah, Council, you're still invited. You know, people are invited to come in. Don't feel, you know, like I'd rather have you be here when you get here than, you know, worrying on the outside. You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I use Twitch a lot too. When when I don't, you know, I have trouble sleeping, a lot of PTSD stuff from the military, and I have streamers that are only like I'll go in, it'll be 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I go in there, and I'm like, you know, just chit chatting, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to go to bed," like I'll start streaming, and they'll be like, "Oh, they're like, why? How are you? Why are you awake? You know, you were in my stream at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, now it's like noon." And it's like, well, like you're my nighttime streamer, like when
Mhm.
I'm lonely in the middle of the night, you know, and that, that's I found that outlet to be that's where there's Twitch is great because there's always somebody there.
Yeah.
And it's such a variety of people that, like, if I don't vibe with this person, like, I'll never see them again. I can go
Change the
somewhere
channel.
else. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd change free TV.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a big struggle that I know a lot of people suffer with is just the loneliness. And I'm grateful for Twitch, and I mean just the variety of people that are here. Like this makes me happy. Like I am genuinely like I'm trying not to cheese so hard because
That shit out, man.
there's so many, like I have learned so much from not only just people in the community, but I mean like you guys as well. And the fact that you guys, showed up. It's like, hey, there's such a odd look when it comes to men's mental health. And just to have people be like, nah, I'm with that shit, like makes me happy. So
I love showing up when people ask about, speaking on it and stuff like that, because it's something that people don't really talk about like that, especially just as men. We don't really. It's just something we kind of keep to ourselves. Like you say, you kind of you get lonely, you stay in that space, you just feeling what you're feeling, and again, sometimes you go to some of your friends and they clown you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything, and then you're just like, all right, well, I'll never do that again.
No.
Yeah.
You
get dropped down a tier. Like if I come to you with some like I've got some real shit and then you make fun of me for it, well, you move down in I have a tier list of friends.
That's when it's just like, oh, so we're just friends. Like you ain't the homies, you're just friends.
Yeah.
It's like, like I was saying, like to highlight Castle again, it's like our friendship, like when we talk normally, we clown on each other like nonstop. But if he ever came to me with some real shit, it's like, bro, I'd be there. Like I've told him before, it's like, dude, I'd bury a body for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like we may clown, but it's like when we're talking some real shit, it's like, dude, I got you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's like, it's what's crazy about Twitch is like when I started Twitch, it was like I was just gaming and like I just like gone through a breakup and I was like, I just wanted like a little bit of a sense of community. And I was like, I'm gaming, might as well like, see who I meet. And then it's like, you meet so many interesting people of like crazy different backgrounds. And you form friendships with those people. And like, Castle lives in Canada. I'd never expected to go to Canada to meet, some homies and stuff, like you go over, you meet people from all over the world. So it's like, it's cool to have that community, but I still feel like as men, it's really hard to like open up, especially like on, with social media and how it is nowadays. It's like, it's good to have these sorts of talks because people still don't have it, even though we should be.
Agreed.
I mean, I've got my own situations and everything. Like I got out of the military in 2023, and it wasn't on really the best terms, but I mean, I still got the honor roll and everything. But like the people since I got out, it has been radio silence from anyone that said, we're family, we care for each other. And all those that said that like we're here for you, they literally backstabbed me the entire fucking route through. So like me finding Twitch, streaming, connecting with other veterans, connecting with other people, it's like I now have a group of people that we go, hey, are you on? And game all the time. And it's really showed because like a lot of my friends I've had since like childhood, a lot of them were abroad or doing something else. And I had a very limited to begin with. So this has really expanded and helped me go through the worst of things.
I wasn't in the military, but I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force, so we did move around a lot. And when I was a kid, we didn't have like social media like that, unless you were grabbing somebody's email. But I'm like 6 years old, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like 6 years old and being like, "Yo, you got email?" And like the other kid probably looking at me like, "What's email?" And he just like busts out his like Batman lunchbox or something. But no, like so like I used to live in like Okinawa. I lived there for a minute. I was on like the Yokota Air Base. It was in Okinawa. Like we moved and moved. So like as when I was young, a lot of my friend group changed and changed and changed. So like I was always like replace like not that I had to replace friends. It's just that like I straight up just lost all contact at 6 years old to that friend group. Made new friends and was like, oh, this is an awesome friend group. Boom, we moved again. Lose that friend group, make new friends. And then I was like, it got to a point where I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here forever.
Yeah, you kind of get used to. You get that head like, like I shouldn't be attached, because it's like you're gonna
Kinda.
move. Yeah, like you just get
And
detached
and
for a
that
bit.
that fucks with your relationships. That
Yeah,
fucks with your
yeah,
relationships because you're just like, I don't want to get too attached. And then like they're just like, you want to hang out? It's like, I don't know if I'm gonna see you like next year, fam. But then like I do see them next year. And then I feel a little bad. And then like we start hanging out more, and then bam, like suddenly we're moving. Like because I'm a kid, I don't know my dad's like schedule or if he's gonna be like moved again. But I noticed when you talked about like childhood friends, I always saw it as like grass is greener on the other side because I always tell people I was like, oh, I moved around a lot when I was younger, and they're just like, oh, you got to see so many places. But I've always wanted to have like that friend where you could be like, I've known this ninja since like kindergarten. He would never betray me, you know. But I can't quite say that, unfortunately. I don't quite have that.
Yeah, and I mean, I've like one or two, like one I've known since like fifth grade, just when her wedding. But we, for like some of the growing, like developing years of the friendship, like we knew each other, did have beef, but like we didn't really go closer as a friendship until like after high school. And then there's one guy I know since like eighth grade. He's now an officer in England. He's abroad. It's kind of harder to get in touch with him. So it's one of those like I've noticed like men and like our friendships and everything. We could go years without talking to each other and catch up like it's nothing. Like if we just saw each other yesterday, and that's okay. Like me, I'm fine with my buddy not talking for a couple of years and be like, "Hey man, catching up," and it doesn't put a damper on our relationship at all. And I got friends I talk to damn near every day.
Yeah, I feel like it's good to have it's hard to have, especially as men, that one friend that's everything. So
yeah,
you can it's easier to have a few friends that fill in those different voids where we don't have to talk for years. And then when we do, it's like we just hung out yesterday.
yeah,
Or you
yeah.
have those friends that are there and I'm always a big proponent of letting those people know that you care about them, that like, yo, you make my life better, you know. And I feel like that's not like so many different people have said it, but like men don't get their flowers until they die, you know. And I feel
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
shouldn't be why, you know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be a reason why that doesn't happen. And that's kind of why like I that's why I try and do these type of things, or make it so that way men are it's more comfortable for men to be like, I appreciate you, you make my life better, thank you for being here, you know. Because why, like, getting everybody knows like that when you get a compliment, like it makes your day, it makes your weeks, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending on like the compliment, like
Yeah,
you know, there's people who like know you and they
yeah.
give you like just like
True.
specifically that like that kind of compliment.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
the thing of like a man will get a compliment and remember that for like the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
'Cause it's
he'll
like we
feed
don't.
off that at the
Yeah,
gym.
it's like we don't get that. Like I was talking to my brother earlier, and he's been like working out and getting in shape and stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, man, like this kid at his church was like, there's no way like you're that age because like you're so fit." And he was like, you know, it's like put him on cloud nine because it's like, you know, nobody just walks up and says that to you.
Oh, dude, yeah, the first time I didn't used to work out, and one of like thank goodness I ran into the group of friends I did in college, and one of my friends was scrawny, and he was just like, I'm tired of being weak, and he started working out. And then like when I got into the same college he did, he was just like, we're going to the gym. It was just like a thing we're gonna do. Like
Yeah.
no conversation to it. He's just like 7 a.m. like meet me at the gym, and I guess we're doing this now.
Mhm.
And I was a doughier kid. I wasn't like super athletic. I was just like doughy. I was 135, just skinny. And then when I started working out, I remember someone came up to me and was just like, you're looking really good. I see it in your chest. And we're on our way to the library, mind you. And then like my friend's just like, all right, so like I think on like the third floor or the fourth floor, it should be the quiet floor. And I'm sitting there, I'm behind him like, yo, like when we going back to the gym, you know? I was I wasn't like a huge like I wouldn't be the first one in the gym before when I first started. I would like I'd be like, I think I got homework due in a month. I should start on that actually, you know,
Yeah.
before I go to the gym. And then now I'm just like, yeah, when's chest day again? Is that
Yeah.
like
Zombies walking around campus. My eyes are up here.
Mhm.
Dog. Dude, dude, I shit you not, it's a different experience when it finally happens to you. It really is.
Oh,
Like
man.
I had someone like kind of like jump over, like we were at like a performance, so there's like, you know, attendance seating, and they're kind of like jumping over seats, and they're just like, hi, my name is like this, and I saw their eyes go down and then up, and I'm just like, whoa, eyes up here.
Right.
See, I had a
I
couple.
remember the last compliment that threw me off.
Go ahead.
I was going grocery shopping, and mind you, it's 2021, little ways after my mom passed. My first time living alone in years, and my first time driving in years. And I'm like, I'm taking myself to the store. I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going outside. So the drive alone was enough to just kind of completely throw me off, and just have my anxiety on 10. I'm walking across the street to go into the store. The lady stops me. She's like, "Excuse me," and I'm just like, "I thought I dropped something." She's like, I just want to thank God and your parents for what I'm looking at right now." And I was like, "Oh, uh," and in my head, I'm like, "Don't make it awkward. Don't make it awkward." Because I was like, "Well, you can thank God, but both my parents are dead, so you know, like, don't make it awkward." So I didn't say that. Luckily, I didn't say that. I was just like, thank you. You know, I was like, do I curtsy? Do I bow? I don't know what to do. Like, but
How
I
does
was
one
just like,
people-
thank you so much. And I'm cheesing. I'm in the produce section, gray sweats, white sneakers, white, you know, shirt as one does when you go grocery shopping. And I just got this smile across my face. I was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm great. Like
I'm
the
great,
drive
as a
home
matter of
was,
fact.
it had me on a high. The drive home, I wasn't even anxious. I was like, yeah, I'm leaning back. I'm like, that's right. Thank God for me. I'm just, but again, like that was 2021.
And he's still riding. Look at him. This is
Like,
great.
Yeah,
yeah.
like I can't,
Look,
I
he's
can't
still
remember the
happy about
last
it. That's
time.
great.
Tells the
Yeah,
story,
aside-
smiles again.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
aside from when I get hit on during woodworking streams, like that's the one that stood out the most. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
think,
those are
like,
some good woodworking streams, though. You know.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of funny too because like you have like the it like makes a pattern too where it's like sometimes a compliment from a total stranger means more than like somebody you know because like I think it's like men sometimes we like sit there and go like, oh, you know, like my friend's just saying it just to be nice or you know something like that,
Yeah.
like we like, kind of
Yeah.
dismiss it, but then like when just a random stranger on the street is like they don't have any reason to be nice to me, you know, like
For sure.
so it's like we put more value in it. It's kind of like reverse think, so to speak, but
Yeah.
you know, it is like
Yeah.
you said, like I could probably sit here and name like a dozen compliments of just random, well, maybe not that many, but compliments I've received in the past where I'm like, damn, like that felt good. Like some, you know, random stranger at the grocery store said something, you know, like it's just
yeah.
we ride that.
There's like there is a difference between like because like you know there are people who are trying to be supportive and nice and they're just like people will give you the comment or compliment of like you're doing a good job and it's like you know thank you, I appreciate that, it's a nice pat on the back. But then there's Jay's compliment of like I would like to thank God and your parents for what I'm seeing here today, and it's just like Whoa.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why I always try to thank people that I'm grateful for. And, more so men, because, Zombie pointed out women scare me, and so like, and I feel like it's just easier sometimes to just compliment the boys, but like, and I feel like sometimes I'll say that and I'll be like, no, I'm serious. I'm genuinely grateful for your friendship. This is not like, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt. It's weird you're wearing a skirt, but well, that's a different subject.
It's a kilt, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
right.
I wasn't trying to point you out, but like now that you did it, but
I
but
regret sending you those pictures now.
yeah. But I legit. That's why I always try to reiterate that like I'm serious. Like I value you, and I feel like those little things go such a long way, and and when they do happen, it's such an incredible feeling. Such an incredible feeling.
Yeah, I think like you also have like the thing of like men don't talk about their problems, so sometimes like that compliment could be like they could be going through something, and that compliment like helps lift them out of that. You just
Yeah,
like never
absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
Then you get
I
those
try-
levels of friendship that are just we insult each other, but they're compliments in disguise. Just depends on how close of a friend you are.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna like to backpack off of that, where it's just like, you guys are friends, or at least like for me, it's like when I meet people the first time, cordial, nice, you throw jokes here and there, but like there's a reason like inside jokes exist with friends, and you
Yeah.
run that. Like Vop and Bonka probably will never drop the sandwich shit, you know?
Right.
Well,
About,
it's because you
like-
disappear for like a half an hour to make a sandwich. He would
There,
be
yeah.
like, I'm gonna go make a sandwich, and then
I had to go make a sandwich, but my brother just got home, and me and my brother, we haven't like, we barely like, he just moved back in, or like moved in, so we barely got the chance to talk. And that's another thing too, like apparently we experienced growing up differently. It was like me and my brother. But yeah, we were just like catching up, and I was like, damn, there's people waiting on me. I come back, and they're just like, damn, how long did it take them to make that sandwich? And I was like, my fault. Like I held up everybody. So that's like, like you can rag on your friends, but then you still go to bed, and the next day it's like you said the most harshest, brutal shit last night. Some friendships get racist or even like downright sinister, but like the next day you'd be like, yo, what up? We running the 2-man. We like you hopping on. What are you doing this?
Yeah. And to be fair, we watched the Lord of the Rings extended cut, and Zombie came back afterwards. So like, it wasn't like
That
this
shit must
was
have been
not-
on like, what was it, 5 times speed?
yeah, 0.5 speed. But yeah, those are the types of friendships that I feel like are healthy for everybody. And sometimes they don't last forever. There's countless people who, I mean, there's inside jokes that could fill a book, and but yet again, that book's just collecting dust now. But I feel like that's a part of life, and I'm grateful in those moments, to have like everyone has had those type of moments with their friends, but those are some things to cling on to. But I feel like sometimes most of us sometimes will not make friendships because of those type of things. Where is like losing friends sucks, but like losing friends that you have those type of like bond with is even worse. And I feel like sometimes you're like, man, you remind me of fill in the blank, and so you get a little standoffish, whereas sometimes you just got to embrace that, like there's a reason why this person reminds you of them, and sometimes you just gotta enjoy it, which
It's
oh, go ahead.
I was say it's funny too because like one of my best friends that I have to this day, like we don't talk as much anymore, but and it's kind of sad that we don't. But it's like I feel like men build their bonds in such a different way than a lot of women do, because like this friend is like we used to not be able to be in the same room without getting in a fist fight, like legitimately, like we would throw,
Mhm.
and then like we finally just like squashed it, and it was just really that we were like the same person, you know what I mean? So like they just you get that similar personality and you clash, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like he's one of my like closest friends to this day. Like we've been through a lot of shit together and stuff, but it does still make me sad because like we don't talk as much. Like he's got a family and kids and stuff, so that just automatically causes a little bit of distance. And so, but like if I meet somebody that's even like somehow reminds me of him, I'm like, damn man, I miss that dude. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's really weird like how men's bonds are like that.
Yeah. Um, and so kind of shifting topics a little. And it's something that is I feel like what's a kind of a crisis, but um, so I mean everyone in their life struggles with depression. And it's kind of I feel like it's a roller coaster. You feel good, and then something else happens. The pressure just kind of builds up, and until we not a lot of us have learned healthy outlets until like we get older. But what are some of those outlets or things you guys have like when you're depressed that helps you get out of said depression in the past?
Man, yeah, there was for me for the longest. Like I was clinically depressed since a child, didn't get diagnosed until a few years ago. Um, so there would just be these ruts where it's like I don't even want to get out the bed, and I'd be in the bed for a week, ordering food instead of cooking. Go to the bathroom, whatever. Do a few things I need to do with my job. I could do 8 hours of work one day, and then it'd be enough for the rest of the week. So I just stay in that bed, and it was literally nothing. Then, and it was like that for years. Found Twitch, got me some people to kind of just connect with, nerd out with, whatever. And I tried to start streaming, but my anxiety and my depression that I was dealing with was so much that it affected just going live. I'd be shaking before I hit the go live button, or I'd be sitting here for 15 minutes before I turn the camera on.
Yeah.
And I tried it like a few times. I was like, I can't do this. Stayed off for a year. In the meantime, started therapy, and I also got diagnosed, clinically depressed, and they put me on some drugs. And I felt this is the best I felt in years. On top of continuing therapy, still doing the work, working on the changing and stuff like that. But it took a lot to start taking the meds. And even now, being on them for almost 2 years, now I'm facing a different kind of depression. Instead of I'm appreciative of everything, but nothing feels good, and I'm not happy, but I just don't enjoy this. Like that's how I used to be with depression. Just everything was heavy. Now it's more so feeling the complacency of my 9 to 5 or not delving into my creative efforts and stuff like that. And so now it's like prior to the drugs, it was the meds. I just call them drugs because it's drugs.
Yeah.
They're
They are.
drugs.
But
Yeah.
You got to stay on brand. It's fine. You get it.
Exactly.
You get it. Get it.
but prior to doing the drugs, there was no outlet. There was nothing. I would just sit in it, and then it's all right, suck it up, and before it was taking care of my mom, for 8 years before she passed, it was like I don't have time to even process what I'm feeling. It was just like fuck it, go to work, you feel how you feel. When I'm not at work or I'm not taking care of, it's just in my room sitting in the dark. Then once I found Twitch, it was like I had people I could talk to, especially with COVID and stuff like that. And then even my anxiety between just ramping up and stuff like that, the isolation was so real. So finding Twitch, being in Discords and hanging out with people and getting to know people on a different, level than what I do with where I'm at. I'm around a lot of hood shit, but I'm also a hood ass nerd. Nobody around me physically is a nerd. They shooting dice, smoking weed, going to clubs or whatever, and I'm good. So be able to find all the nerds online like me to just go and nerd out with and do that was a tremendous help to kind of feel like myself again.
Yeah.
And want to kind of like surrounding
Absolutely
myself with
agree.
those people I agree with. I mean, the people I relate to,
So,
and it helped me find myself.
so do you think the therapy made more of an impact than the drugs?
No, because I was on the drugs before I started therapy.
Okay.
Like I once the because I'm on Wellbutrin, um, and once the med like it took about 2 months for the meds to settle in, and it was rough because it's it's changing the chemical
The
composition of your
chemical,
brain, so
yeah.
Yeah.
it was rough just mentally for like a week or two. It took 2 months to settle in, but and I just remember one day I felt this. I realized I didn't feel the heaviness that I'd felt since I was like 6 years old. And then it knocks you into a different kind of depression because you're mourning for your old self because it's like, fuck, I've waited this long to
Oh,
get on these drugs.
yeah.
So now I'm mourning for myself because it's like you could have felt this way earlier, but because of the taboo around, you know, taking
Sti-
drugs for your brain, for your mental health, and the taboo of just speaking on any of this stuff,
Wow.
talking like this about it. So, I mourned for
Yeah.
myself. So that was a whole phase. And then I've been in therapy consistently for a year with my therapist now. I tried a few in between starting the meds and stuff, but between therapy with him and being on the meds, my friends tell me, they're like, I've been waiting to hear you talk like this. Just with the work I've been doing and stuff, the things I'm recognizing, assessing, analyzing, all of that. So there is a growth that's taking place, even if it's gradual. But to hear my
Yeah.
friends acknowledge it lets me know like you're on the right track. You're finding yourself. You're back to doing you and everything. So it's been a phenomenal thing for me.
I
And
have a slightly different tale to that. Like I was on, when I was in the military. They started me on sertraline, and then they had me take both that and Wellbutrin, and it actually had the opposite effect on me. It made things worse.
mhm,
Um, and ended up hospitalized. My therapist sent me to the Naval Hospital for suicidal ideation. Um, and then like a couple months later, I was pushed out of the military. My leadership did not like me, and then I didn't have plans afterwards. Like I was planning on doing full 20, and I was just kind of dropped. Like my wife was super pregnant. I had a kid on the way. I didn't have another plan, and I was just kind of stuck. Like had the kid, took care of the kid, stay at home dad for a little bit, but was still just stuck
yeah,
for a while. I took myself off the sertraline because I stopped the Wellbutrin after that hospitalization, and then I took myself off the sertraline. It like I did not have any control over my emotions, especially anger, and I was like, I don't like this, and took myself off. But it wasn't until I started like I went in for an uh, increase exam for my major depressive disorder, uh, for my disability benefits, and they told me about my Chapter 31, which is like a vocational rehabilitation. Because as I am troop, like no one's looking for anyone to build bombs in legally in the civilian world. Like my job did not transfer. I wasn't marketable. Um, and now they're sending me to be a graphic designer, like to get a graphic design degree
Nice.
and like start over
yeah,
and get past going. Um, and it kind of like one is healing my like inner child because I wanted to be an artist when I was younger, and I was just kind of like told like get a real job, and now that I had a real job, now it's like yeah, you got the skills to be an artist essentially. So now I'm actually pursuing that inner childhood dream with help, but I now have a direction to go, and I think a lot of people aren't afforded that. Such members just kind of have to like suck it up, find something, provide,
Mhm.
and like that's one main reason I started Twitch, just to get some pocket money. So I felt like I was providing, I was helping. It's one of the main reasons I started Twitch, just to get that little bit of pocket money. Like I'm helping to the household.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people are given that like second chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Until it's a lot of people don't find that extra until, I mean, they're a lot older, for sure.
Or they don't pursue their second chance too. A lot of people like default.
Yeah.
They're just like, this is what my life has amounted to. So I'm just like, I'm used to it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I'm in the process of trying to break away from and everything. My life paused for 12 years. My brother committed suicide in 2010, helped his wife raise his 4 kids. Over the years, then my mom, who was already disabled with a heart condition, got breast cancer, couldn't work anymore. So I started taking care of her. So here I am with family man responsibilities, and I fucked no one to get them.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there taking all these kids
Yeah.
and this woman. And when she passed in 2021, it was like my life hit resume, and I had no idea who the fuck I was. So the stuff that the journey you go on from your, mid 20s to your mid 30s never happened for me. So now here I am, mid 30s, like, who am I? what do I do now? And
Yeah.
these last 4 years have been, it's been ugly. It's like spring cleaning of sorts, where it's like you're pulling out all your shit to look at it and assess it, and you're like, why am I still carrying this? Why do I still have this? None of this shit serves me. Or you try to revisit old things you used to do. I used to run with the team doing music, and I was like, I don't enjoy the music anymore like that. But I still enjoy writing. So it's like, all right, we're gonna lean towards that. And then I've been kind of finding my way creatively going towards the writing and whatnot. Love creating things. I started doing woodworking shit just for the sake of fuck it, let's try it. But being able to, I turn 39 on Monday, so I'll be 12 months away from 40, and to sit here and be like, I'm starting over. Like my goal for my 40th is to quit my job and be writing full time. Like who's doing that at 40? Who's just like, yeah, fuck this. Been with this company almost 10 years. So it's an interesting space, but I'm not afraid of it, because at the end of the day, I know what things look like if I don't try it.
You've already lived in that don't try.
Yeah, and I think also like having a creative outlet is something that we kind of shy away from a little bit until we realize what benefits they have. Like me, I kind of shied away from like drawing, or like I got a little bit of writing a little bit when I was doing my therapy and everything, but like I kind of just did it to do it. I didn't actually realize the benefits that having some sort of creative outlet was. And even now I say like you could get like those like adult coloring books from Amazon and just color that in to relieve stress, and it does wonders. For
What kind of adult coloring books?
I mean, whichever one you want, man. But they got ones that just say "fuck off" and very, very weird spiral designs, and you just color in "fuck off."
Yeah,
And
I'm just playing. I know
yeah.
you mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not judging, but still. But regardless, like you don't have to have any like quote unquote artistic talents. People are like, I'm not artistic at all. I'm like, you could color, right? You could get between the lines. You don't even have to do that. Just put a marker or something to paper, or write, or do something.
Anything to
Do
turn your
something
brain
creative.
off.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I was going through therapy. I mean, I still go to therapy, but probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was engaged, and that engagement broke off, and it was kind of the same thing where it's like, I'd been building up this relationship to be more than it was, and then kind of was left, when it ended, it was like your future's uncertain. I was 32 at the time, so it's like pretty late to already be getting married, and like, what am I gonna do? And I was in therapy, and I've never really been like, I kind of enjoyed writing, but it was something like you said, it was like I never really exercised that muscle, so to speak. And then my therapist like, she's like, it sounds weird, but she's like, keep a journal, like make a diary or something. And she's like, write it down. She's like scientifically, like even if you're thinking those thoughts, the second you write them to paper, it's like your brain is like offloading that to the paper. Like,
Hmm.
and it's like that did so much for me to be like all those dark thoughts that I was having, or all those, the depression or anxiety and all that stuff, like literally just writing it down. It's like even if you're already thinking it and you're just writing exactly what's in your head, it's like it really does feel like it's like coming out of your head, and like really helps you decompress that emotion a lot.
Well, not even used to. I still do. I ruminate a lot. Like if something like occurs, happens, or concerns me, or anything like that, I can't let it go. Like it just it keeps cycling over and over and over. I replay scenarios. How could I have done that differently? Like this ended, or say a relationship ended. What could have what could I have done differently? How could that have gone differently, etc. But then I got the same piece of advice, was to journal. And like I was there were so many things before, like coming from stigma, where it's just like, you don't talk about your problems. uh Medicine's gonna take my sparkle away, or stuff like that, and I just didn't do it. And then now, again, what Jay said, where it's just like, I feel like I started fixing myself, like quote unquote fixing myself too late. And I could have been this way earlier, and my life could have been so different earlier. But back to the journaling thing, was like, um I always have this thing, like I'm gonna forget, and I don't have like the best memory, so I always feel like I'm gonna forget, so I write things down. And when I started journaling, now I can just be like, I can stop thinking about this thing, because I know where I can find it, and it's literally in the journal. So if I ever want to like look back, rethink, or revisit, it's there in the journal. And then I feel like from a computer standpoint, I freed up resources, I freed up RAM, and now I can use the RAM for something else and focus on something else. And yeah.
I think that's like the other thing. Like I think that's why I do think like therapy's gotten more common, but like, it's like even when I first started going to therapy, is like the first thing my therapist said is like, I'm not here to fix you. Like nothing in the world's going to fix all the problems or make it so you don't have struggles.
Hmm.
And like giving you tools like journaling, or whatever other exercise that you may use, drawing or art or whatever it is. It's like she was like, this is like, I'm giving you the tools because there's nothing I'm ever going to say to you that's going to make life easy like all the time. So like you have to learn to like, you really have to like make a toolbox of things that, like I said, for me and Zombie, that may be journaling, and for somebody else it may be drawing, or whatever like you said, the kind of like Vop said, an outlet that you have to handle those bumps and those bruises as they come. Because like, as much as we talk about mental health, it's like nothing's ever going to stop it from us having to deal with traumas or issues that come at us.
Mhm. For me, I did a lot of the stereotypical stuff. Like when I was in the Marine Corps, I went through a divorce. My first wife left me when I was in Iraq. And then having like losing buddies and stuff, I was on a slippery slope. So I did what any respectable young Marine would do, and I drank a lot, like a lot. And fighting's always a thing, so I had my outlets, and I'm not the same. I wasn't a respectable gentleman like I am today. I used women to try to fill that void too. And um and I mean, now I have a 15-year-old, which I love to death,
He was filling voids to fill a void.
That's correct, yes. And I realize now as an adult that was the worst thing I could do. I wish I could change things. Like I said, I love my son, so I don't feel like I want to change that. But like, I wish I could have learned the healthy things that I know now. Like after that happened, I was in an accident and I got let go out of the military. Whereas I'm like, my father did 12 years in the Marine Corps, and I was like, I could do that. I could beat that. And if I do 12, I might as well do 20. than to being in my mid 20s of like having to restart, you know, like a common thing that's happened. I went to school for music, and then I found, you know, who I thought was the love of my life, my second wife. We were together for like a decade, and we got divorced. And now I'm in my 30s, my mid 30s, starting over. And what happened for me, what got me through that depressive, I went from owning 5 acres, having a 2-car garage, you know, 4 bedrooms, 3-bath house, to I live with my brother in a room. Everything I own is in a 5x8 storage. And 2 things helped me. The typical, I went to the gym a
Yep.
lot. I went to the
Yep.
gym a lot. And Dark Souls. I literally sat down and played Demon Souls, and I beat Dark Souls 3, and I fought my demons on screen, but that were also that had just been festering inside me. I struggled so much, and I went from space to boss to area to boss to this to that to side quests to friendships to backstabs to patches again to patches again in all these different games. And when I finally, and then I beat every boss 5 or 6 times. You know, I learned. And then I got to the Twin Princes. And for those you don't know who that is, they're not the hardest boss in the game in Dark Souls 3, but I couldn't wrap my brain around it. It took me like 4 days to beat this boss. And when I did, something broke on the inside of me. And I let it go. I let go all that pain and struggle that I've been fighting in Dark Souls, but I let that pain and struggle that I've been fighting in life. And it kind of pushed me, and it's that aha moment where I was like, no matter how hard it is, I've done it already. I got past Iraq. I got past the Marine Corps. I got past living in a wheelchair. I got past divorce. I got past starting over in my mid 30s. I got past it because you know what I did is when it knocked me down, I learned from it, and I built myself back up, and I kept going forward. And so that has always been my outlet. Used to be drinking and fighting, and now it's video games and working out healthy and having conversations with great people, doing community things, helping. I have found that I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in November. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I still struggle with that. But the purpose I have found, and this is what gets me every time I feel sad, I'm like, I should help somebody else. And it makes me feel good, because every time I'm like, fuck, I'm sad because of whatever, I'm like, I got a roof over my head. I got clothes on my back. For those people who've seen me, I eat. I eat good. I eat steak and eggs and for breakfast, you know. I drive a nice car. You know, I'm in relatively good health. And anytime I feel sad, I'm like, helping other people makes me feel better, because when I got Marine Corps, I had $80 in my pocket, and I slept on my buddy's floor. I pulled a cushion off of a chair, and I slept on that. I've been in a lot worse place. I shopped at the dollar store for groceries, and now I buy butcher shop meat. I get custom meat orders from the butcher shop, but I know there's people still out there shopping at the dollar store.
Yep.
So it makes me feel better when I'm like, let me help you out. And that's where I've found, in service to others, I have found that has got me out of being depressed, because it lets me know that, like, I never forget where I came from. But where I came from, people are still living there.
Yep.
And to me, that's the biggest push that gets me from being depressed is kindness, you know? And that and lifting heavy things and setting them down somewhere. That'll always be like 1 and 2. But I found that the thing that helps me the most is checking on the homies. If I usually when I reach out to people, I'm like, hey, are you good? It's like I want to know that you're good because that makes me feel better. Because like I'm not good, but if you're good, like that makes me happy. And when happiness makes me happy. So if you're happy, that makes me, I feed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
and that's where, to me, the biggest antidepressant in my life has been helping others. I've taken medication. I've fucking drank, fought. I've slept with the women's, and to me, uh, helping others has been my biggest antidepressant in life. So
And I think that goes for like really everyone, but in like the veteran community and the like service community and all that. Like veterans, we raise the right hand and we were serving, and then when we get out, what do we serve now? Like what we had that identity crisis, and like what do we do now? And then I remember having a conversation with my professor, and like there are people that need help. You can always find an excuse, whether that be like me. I eventually the one of the main drives for me and like making my art better is so that way eventually I can do a charity auction or give my artwork to help someone in need through charity auctions, or like if I get good at like making like portraits or something, I could do that for a family that's grieving, do a free for the funeral service or something like that that can help. There are so many things that people can do to actually help people that people don't realize how simple it can be and how much of a I'll say therapeutic thing it is to help others.
Mhm.
And it doesn't take a lot. Like it can take a lot, but it doesn't have to. It could be something as simple as like if you have if you're an artist, you have a piece that's been sitting collecting dust, be like, I'm not using this, auction it off, give whatever to whatever charity you're doing.
Mhm.
Could be, guy on the side of the road, like I remember I think it was in like San Antonio or Houston, and I was just driving. I was going to visit family or something. He's like, anything helps, and I had like a half eaten thing of peanuts, and he just took it as like, thank you. I'm pretty sure that's like the only thing he was gonna eat that day. Like it any little thing can make anyone's day, and it feels so good to see their eyes just light up. Like you just helped me. It may not have been much, but you helped.
yeah, absolutely. Um, uh, Spider-Man, Hurricane, you guys, Audacity, you guys got any? Would you like to
It's
share? You don't have to. I don't want to make you feel like you have to. I thank you guys for being here too.
no. Like I feel like
Uh,
sometimes also like it's good to help people, but I also feel like a lot of people's um it doesn't really apply here, but with the younger generation, that they didn't really struggle the way the older generation have. Like how, like my kids will never know the shit that I used to do because of where I'm living at. You get me? Like
Mhm.
they'll
But isn't that the
never.
goal?
Yeah, that's the goal. But I think there's also it's a double edged sword. And that's how I kind of
Mhm.
been thinking about everything. Like everything is a double edged sword. Like yes, they'll have a better life, but it'll be harder for them to adjust when things don't go their way, if that makes sense.
mhm.
I do. I understand like that sentiment because I very very distinctly remember asking my dad, "Are we rich or are we poor?" Because to put things into perspective, again, military brat. My dad was in the Air Force. My dad retired in the Philippines, and the conversion rate from like dollar to peso is over there. It's pretty high.
Yeah, yeah.
Like $2 by equivalent is like you're eating pretty good if you go to like a fast food restaurant, you know? Like just to put that into perspective. And it's because I was there, everyone calls me a foreigner when I was over there. And they're like, "Oh, you're a foreigner, so you're rich." But like I was a teenager and I'm not the one handling money or whatever. So money's not in my hands. And I remember asking my dad, I was like, "Dad, are we like rich? Are we poor? Are we considered rich?" And he goes, "We're neither rich nor are we poor. I can tell you that much." You know? And like he told me about how he had to work, how he never saw the sun sometimes when he would work. Like he worked as a dishwasher at one point. And I felt that need that like I had to work also, like when I reached whatever age he had to work. Like that was like where I saw like where I should be at this point in my life at least. And because I could make my own money or would have my own money, you kind of learn the value of it also
Yeah.
growing up, because it's not like, "Mom, Dad, I need $20 for this. Mom, Dad, I want this t-shirt. Can you buy it for me?" I didn't really have that, but like if I could get the money myself, if I could make the money myself, get the money myself, I could have these things, you know. And now I know what it's like to have money in a way. Like I'll never forget the day I got paid and I saw a comma in my bank account, dude. That was a different day. Okay, I was big balling for like a week, and then the comma went away, and I was just, all right. So $20 max is what we're spending, maybe today or maybe even this week. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you mean decimal, not comma, right? Your first. I was just kidding.
Like,
Yeah.
What kind of money? Yeah, what kind of money are you making? No. Yeah, it's like
piggybacking off the. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say like it. You know, I grew up poor. Like my mom and my stepdad, like they never had like it was like struggling to pay the electric bill. You know what I mean? Like we never like went without food or anything, but it was like really really poor. It was a struggle. So it's like I knew when I grew up, it's like I've been moderately successful in my career, but it's like I was like I never want to have kids that have to deal with like thinking about like hearing their parents
Yes.
talk about like how are we gonna pay the bills. You know, it's like that's what I told people is like, yeah, I want to be more like I'm ambitious, like I want to be more and more successful, but it's not about like it's not like oh man, I need to have 5 Lambos in the garage or something stupid. It's like
No,
I just
no,
want to be
yeah.
able, I just want to be stable. So like anybody in my life that needs it relies on me doesn't have to worry about those problems. Like it's that simple. It's not about being rich.
Yeah.
Like Hurricane was saying about, the kids kind of it's the goal because raising my brother's kids. The goal is you want them to have more than what you did,
Oh yes.
but then you end up raising what you perceive to be a privileged child.
Yeah.
My brother's kids. They just moved into an apartment for the first time in their life. They've been in houses their whole life. Whereas 3 years ago, I just moved in. I bought a house 5 years ago and lived in a house for the first time my entire life. So it's, such a vast difference. But the issue that you come across is you want to give them the lessons you learn, but there's trauma that we have attached to that, which is why we have that lesson and we carry it so much and we remember. I can take them 3 lights down to the neighborhood that I grew up in and show them like I used to sleep under a kitchen table because we had so many people in that apartment. But they won't get it because they're like, well, I've always had my own room and a bed, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
they've had 2 garages, a basketball goal, two floors, a refrigerator that dispersed ice and water. I'm like, you guys were fucking rich. And that's how I looked at kids in elementary school when I go to their house. I'm like, oh, you guys are rich. And then I go back home to sleep under the kitchen table, like shit like that. So it's just looking at them. I'm like, and even my nephew now, 18, graduated, and he's struggling because it's just like you've been privileged for so long, you don't know the hustle.
Yeah.
You don't know the need. You
Or the
You
struggle.
didn't have to help your mom financially
Mhm.
You know, I started working at 14 and paying bills and stuff, and here he is 18, fucking off and not paying the $60 cell phone bill.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, but that again, that trauma that we have attached to those lessons is like, I want you to learn what I did, but don't
Yeah.
be traumatized like I am or was. And it's such a weird thing to, you know, maneuver.
It's like what's that the saying is like hard times make strong men make good times make weak men. Like, you know, it's like the
Yeah.
cycle of, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of like while I don't wish my, like, you know, if I have kids, I don't want them to go through the same struggles I did as a kid, but it's like it also made
Exactly.
me way stronger as a person to go through it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, yeah. It's like
Yeah,
how will they
and
handle like adversity or like struggle
Mhm.
or anything like that? Because
Yeah.
like it will your kid be like, I can figure this out, or be like, you know, like crack under like the slightest of pressure, and then it's just like your kids can be like an extension of you, you know, like
Mhm.
they are like a part of you, and seeing them like break, has its effect to you as a parent as well, you know.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
there are other factors like real world stuff that happens. Like me, I've been in the workforce until 8 years old because family, family business laws, not like child labor laws don't really. Well, I work for everything that, like I may be given to it, but I put in the time to work in the family business to get that thing.
Yeah, you
Um,
filed no taxes at 8 years old, dude.
yeah, right. And so, but then I just met her, but now I'm broken and no one wants to hire. Like that was a big struggle. Like me getting out, trying to find a job anywhere. Like I'm in the weird position where I am overqualified for entry level, and I don't have a piece of paper saying I'm smart enough to do other jobs I can do in my sleep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there are other factors that go into that. Like I work my ass off, and I want to work my ass off, but I'm fucking broken. So it's harder to do that. But like we have a roof over our head. We don't have a lot of extra spending money, but like we have food, we have internet, we have all that. My daughter has never gone hungry. To us, we're comfortable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
We
dude,
don't
those are
have
big
a lot.
achievements,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Like those are huge things. Like
yeah.
I I tell people this. I've met like other people via Twitch. Same thing. He said that he has a 1.5-year old and he's moving into his house, and I'm just like, dude, like you're doing like massive things as a parent. Like, and I hope you understand that.
Mhm.
You know, and like your kid's not gonna go hungry. Okay, like
Mhm.
big ups to you, dog. Like that
Yeah.
that's a big thing. Like you still care about your kid. I used to work in pediatrics. I used to work in a pediatric clinic. I've seen kids come through, smile one day, not smiling the next day, dealing with like parental ish. I've had to deal with my own like parental stuff. So like I will always give time or take time to tell parents that you're doing a good job, because there are parents who like don't want their kids and they have like 10 million kids, you know.
Mhm.
And that's so heartbreaking. But then there are parents who they're just like, uh, you can tell like they don't have a lot, but the kid looks like they have a lot because the
Mhm.
parents is always giving to their kid, you know.
Yep.
It's like your plate may not be full, but that kid's plate's always full. I
Mhm.
see you, I see you, to not just Aspire, but like to everyone else here who has kids, and everyone else like out there, like they deserve the acknowledgement, I didn't realize it when I was a kid. And
Mhm.
then I remember I woke up one night. I woke up one night and I overheard my dad in a conversation. I was mostly single parent family. I heard my dad in a conversation, and I remember him saying, "It's like I have to be both the hard parent and the soft parent with my kids." And I didn't
Mhm.
realize that. I never noticed that. Never even like thought to perceive that when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then I overheard the conversation. Probably what I was never supposed to hear. It was probably like 3 a.m. in the morning. I was going to the bathroom, and I realized that, and I noticed that now. And there's a lot of things that like my dad, yeah, that motherfucker was strict, like, but there's a lot of things that he did for us that I'm more grateful now that I understand. And you guys deserve a lot more credit when like, if sure your kid may not notice it for a while, but like I other people see it, dog, and you
Yeah.
deserve that acknowledgement.
Yeah, and to continue with that line of thought, like we say we have lessons that we gone through struggle, or lessons that we learned the hard way that we pass on to our kids. The severity of that can be passed on without the trauma associated. To say, I went through this, you take the lesson, but know that your struggles are going to be different than what I'm going through, because you are your own person. But pursue, also kind of encourage them to pursue what they want to pursue.
Yeah.
Because some of us didn't have that opportunity to pursue what we wanted to pursue. Told, like, get a real job.
Mm-hmm.
I think we live in a day and era that, those real jobs, they say they're hard, they're not. Even people are struggling just to survive. But there are avenues that people don't look, that we could show them the way to help them in the face of adversity with the lessons that we learned the hard way.
I know one thing that's really helped me out. I got 4 kids, had 5, one's in heaven, and I got me a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 11-year-old, and 7-year-old. And my 2 oldest ones, they're pretty much the guinea pigs. You learn with your first kids. That's just the reality of it. I was the oldest. I didn't get treated the same as my little brother. I was jealous. And struggle was real.
I'm the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know for me, I did a lot of charity work. I agree with Bob when it comes to helping others. That definitely was a big thing for me. But one thing I integrated with my kids became young teens is I started taking them with me to charity events. One of the charity events I did was helping out the homeless, feeding, clothing, all that kind of stuff. Another thing I did was visit the children's hospital, and it's one of those situations where, we don't want to pass down the trauma to them by all means, but we can introduce them to certain parts of the world while being under supervision. Yes. And, for me, I didn't really know what was going to happen. I talked to my wife, I prayed about it. And, I felt God was leading me to take my kids with me on some of my events. And I'm glad I did, because their mindset changed. And I didn't, I made sure to make it clear to them, it's not about feeling sorry for them at all. They're very strong individuals. A lot of them are some of the most respectful people I've ever met in my life. And, I came from a very bad neighborhood, family, drug dealers, all that kind of stuff. And, you can't show money, otherwise you get robbed by your own family type of thing. And, I remember going to some of these places where they had food and they were passing them out. And so being able to give back, but also being able to realize that, we have the power to make a difference in each other's lives. When we go to like some of these charity events, some of these homeless outreaches, it's just like what we give them, we get so much more back from it. Because I remember one time there was a guy, he pulled out a trombone, living on the streets, carrying a trombone, just started playing this amazing music. That experience is priceless. Being able to connect with people and being able to just empower my children like that, to be able to see another side of the world that some people might have a certain narrow mind to. But, when you actually get to know these individuals and get to see them and see their outlook and see their opinion, and, a lot of them tell their story. Hey, this is what happened with me with drugs. Hey, this is what happened with me and bad investments, whatever it might be. After that, my 2 teenagers were different. We went to a couple of them, and, it really changed their outlook on, hey, you know what? I can make a difference in the world. I am blessed with what I have, but there's also a lot of great people out there from different paths and going on different journeys. And, it really did help me as a parent to realize that if I'm not taking my kids with me on some of the journeys that I'm going on, when they become adults, they're going to go on it themselves, and I'm not going to be able to guide them through it. So to try to take them with me as much as possible so I can be their guide in it until that day comes when they're off to do their own thing.
Yeah. I think it's like,
man.
I think it's, like to that point, it's like, I feel like a lot of us, it was like, I felt like I was until my 30s until I started to really understand and respect what my parents did for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we didn't have a lot, but like, I can remember, I think I was 18 and we went to, like, I grew up in Oklahoma. I wanted to go to the University of Oklahoma, like, and we went and did like a campus tour. My mom went with me, and, like, all my friends that I had were like, oh, their parents were helping them a lot with college, like they were paying for it, or they
Yeah.
were, it was like they had a lot more financial resources. And like, being a stupid teenager, I was like, why don't I have that? Like, why is that not my thing? And I remember my mom taking me, we drove to like a homeless shelter, and she's like, it was the same thing. Like we like literally left the campus, went over there and like volunteered for a bit. And she's like, I understand, like I can't give you everything you want, and I wish I could, but like this could be your life. Like these people are struggling way more, and like we're doing our best. Like they're doing their best, we're doing our best. Like everybody's just trying to do their best to provide as much as they can. And until I was like in my 30s, like even then it partially clicked, but then like, as you get into your 30s and you're really trying to build a life, you don't see how hard it is to be a parent. Like I'm not even a parent, but like, I can't. It's like it doesn't matter if you have, like you said, the 2-car garage and a big house or anything like that. It's like, man, if your kids are fed and they got a roof over their head, like you're being a good parent. Like you said, like it's not about what's in the bank account or what going on a vacation every year. It's about doing your damnedest to give them everything you didn't have, And that's tough. I think a lot of us don't realize that until we get a lot older.
Yeah.
And even a lot
But
of times people will, they look at their problems in that current moment, but it's also, you got to look back at where you've come from and realize like the problems you have now, you were wishing for those problems back when you had your other one. Like me, I was, in the projects, before I bought my house, in the same projects for 10 years, with my mom. And I was like, she's not going to die in this hood. I was like, I'm going to be in the house. And now here I am dealing with house problems. AC's going out, once a year. Now they're like, hey, we want
Same,
15
dog.
grand for a new system. And I'm like, you know what? I prayed for this. I prayed for this. So it's like,
Right in the check. I wanted
versus
this, right?
yeah, it's like, so it's just kind of also giving yourself the grace, but also giving yourself the acknowledgement of the work you've done to be where you're at now. Because when you look at where the fuck you were, it's like I don't think I want to go back there. I think I'm okay with in these problems here. So it's like, you have to kind of boost yourself up as well. Because seeing other people's circumstances, like it's definitely like, oh, that is not my circumstance. I am grateful for mine, but also kind of acknowledging the work that you've done to be where you're at as well. So it's kind of, it comes from multiple sources.
I think like as men, I think we also get caught up in like the ambition side of things. Like we always, I think at least a lot of men want, they desire for more. Not like like I said, not that you want to be rich or anything. You just want more, and you forget to stop and be like, shit, I built a lot already. Like I've already done like my accomplishment is good already. Like I don't need to. If this is all I have, like you said, like the problems I have now, like you said, until you stop and think about it, it's like problems I have now. Like you said, I would have killed for those when I was, 15 or 16 or a kid or whatever, and my parents probably would have killed for them. Like you have to stop and realize, like, while you still may want more and you may strive for more, that's fine, but respect what you've done so far.
Yeah. And Hurricane, I wanted to touch on this earlier, but I wanted people to express in a moment. But you saying, like your kids don't have the struggle like you did. They have a different struggle.
Yeah.
The world we live in now is not the same world that we lived in when most of us grew up. I'm grateful my kid will never have to struggle like I do, but he struggles in his own way.
Yeah. I know.
They don't have the hardship that we do. It's a different type of hardship nowadays,
Yeah, because fuck, we're getting old. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't even know who this is on the radio. I don't even know what the fuck you just said to me. They're like, they were over here quoting some viral Justin Bieber moment, talking about it's clock and tea that I'm standing on business, and I'm like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
I also
I'm doing dishes.
I also feel that they have to be exposed at least. At least on TV, just exposed to other struggles from like either other countries or even other places in the US, because there are people struggling in this country too. And it'll give them that, just to give them that piece of perspective. I remember like one guy that he always pops in my head. Like it was a coworker when I was working at the gym at night. He would just come up to me, talking, and for a couple of days, he just kept giving me that hint, like of like that he wanted to off himself. And so I was like, all right. And then I was like, why though? And he was like, oh, my girl left me. Like, this dude is like 18. And I was like, all right, so how long y'all been together? He was like, oh, we've been together 6 months. And like, it kind of was like, at one hand, I was I wanted to like console him, but at the other hand, I was like, motherfucker, that's nothing to cry about. Like, that is not, something that
Yeah.
that I would, be concerned about. And when I kind of I kind of got at him, but more in a like, you think that's hard? And then I told like my bitch was like the chick during that video where I did that whole thing in the park. I was with that chick more than 10 years. You gave me. I thought
Yeah.
that was the one, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, until I found that one sucking another one dick. You gave me like it was.
Yes.
So then I was like, imagine being like in a relationship 10 years. Like you talking about six. I would love for a chick to call it off for me 6 months because I'm like, all right, cool. It's like I did not waste my time essentially in this relationship. And I don't know, when I drilled him on that, he stopped talking about it. And like a month or two later, he was like, yeah, I'm talking to this chick now. I was like, you see? Like you're focused on that stupid chick. Like you don't even know what is in front of you because you're so focused on this thing not going your way. And like
Yeah.
they just gotta learn that like I had a plan, obviously. I think everybody had a plan in their life. And I think when you see that your plan's not really going the way it's supposed to, there is like an adjustment period that some people unfortunately just can't overcome. Some people
Yeah.
will just stay at the bottom of a bottle or some other um
They just default to
yeah, they
that.
just default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I learned from everything that's happened and all the plans that I had that kind of backfired on me. I kind of developed a way where, like, okay, if something is out of my control, I have to learn to not give a fuck about it until I could control it.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach, like, really my wife, because my wife has, like, severe anxiety when it comes to certain things. Like, oh my God, this is. I was like, look, we're not going homeless anytime soon. So like,
Yeah.
let's not fucking worry about this bill or that bill. Like, just relax. Like, we're not gonna go homeless. We're not gonna starve. We'll figure it out any way we could. But if we, once I see that I've tried every avenue and nothing could resolve that issue, I try to just let it go because it's gonna do is make me take it out on someone else that didn't deserve it. You get what I'm saying? Like I'll spaz
Yeah,
out at my
absolutely.
kid for fucking whatever reason, and like I don't know, that's just not healthy either in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to kind of pick and choose your battles. Like what do I need to hold on to? That what's kind of there's two types of stress: the stress that pushes you and motivates you, and then the stress that just makes you freeze and build up and blow up. You got to kind of sort, almost pick your battles. Like what do I need to care about? My big thing is I go. My brain likes to plan way far ahead, and I have to stop myself. I go, what's step one?
Yeah, yeah,
And if step one's like 3 months out from now, I'm not going to worry about it until step one comes here. I'm not going to worry about step 15 or 16 because so much could go wrong or right in that time period.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of people like it took me a long time to learn that lesson, and I think a lot of people kind of freeze up at that. They don't think step one; they think of step 20,
Yeah.
and then
I-
yeah, go ahead.
So Hurricane, with when you were talking to the dude, my biggest thing when I run into people who are like that is like, that's his worst day. He's at his worst right now, even though it's 6 months and I compare it to when I got divorced after 10 years.
yeah,
We were both on our worst day at that point. And the only thing that I try to do when I try to realize that we're in our best, that's our low points. Everybody has that low point on that line. And I just try to think and I am grateful because I have this outlook as being, as dad is that person who's at that low point, that 18-year-old kid, me at my lowest point. I always go to, what would I tell my son? What would I tell him? Because that's going to be the best advice I'm ever going to give anybody at that point in time. So I always try to, well, this is what I would tell my kid. So I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you that. And when I'm at that low point, what would I tell my kid? I'm going to do that because I wouldn't give him advice to lead him astray. Would I do it to myself? Yeah, absolutely. Because like I don't value myself as important as him. And so when it comes to low points, that's what I try to do to like that's how I try to give my advice. Like I'm talking to my kid. Of it might not be what you want to hear. It might not be the easiest option, but this is what I genuinely, truly, honestly feel like is the best move that you could possibly make. And I feel like that's a in my opinion, that's probably the best way to not only give people advice but live your life. If you were to give someone who you wanted the best for, your kids, your wife, your mom, your dad, your best friend, if you were to give them an honest piece of advice, that's what you should live by in said moment.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
I
because
also
I think
anytime I catch people that are in that stage, it's always like because I'm always willing to, open to talk to people about that with my brother doing that and stuff. It's like you might be at your worst point, but you ending things doesn't even give you a chance to make things better or to see things improve. So you're so stuck in this space where you're at that you can't even see the possibility of things improving or what's on the other side of this.
I think
Yeah.
To be stopped or like hospitalized for that kind of ideology, it's not a pleasant experience. I speak that one for experience. It's that house they strip like what they did to me. Hospital gown, nothing. Like yet underwear, not even your socks. Just and then wait there until a mental health professional came and asked questions. It wasn't a very pleasant experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
that
like
doesn't sound like it.
it's
Go ahead,
like
Jared.
I don't envy like the younger generation because like I didn't really learn it until like my niece now she's 16 and I'm really close with her and it's like I was like a senior in high school when like Facebook and shit came out, you know what I mean? Like we had MySpace and everything, but like social media wasn't the monster it is today. And it's like it skewed their vision of the world so much that it's like I understand why like so many of them struggle with like depression and anxiety and stuff because it's like for one any mistake they made is amplified because every one of their friends sees it right like everybody like if I was in high school and I did something dumb or my girlfriend broke up with me or whatever it was like okay my high school might know but now it's like shit everybody in the world knows now and it leads to this like view of like they feel like I feel like a lot of times they feel like they have to be perfect um and then they also just feel like things aren't attainable and it's like when you reach that mindset it's like you said you kind of go to those places that you shouldn't go because it is daunting.
With social media everywhere, there's more eyes on everyone all the time because I feel like we live in a society now where everyone tries to judge their life or live up to the life expectation of like internet celebrities. It's this person is 19 years old, they've got their house, they've got this, they've got that. I'm 19 years old, I live in a dorm with a roommate who stinks that I can't stand that, and it's like everybody not speaking from personal experience or anything, but it's like everybody measures themselves to other people, so it's a lot harder in that kind of aspect.
Yeah, it's like I remember having a conversation with her where like I'd finally worked hard enough. I bought my dream car and like they want to go for a ride in it. And they were like, man, this is so cool, but I'm never going to have this. I was like, why would you never have this? Like I'm no different. Like I'm the same human you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like like you said, like I had times where it's like I had $20 I had to make last 2 weeks. Like, it's like, I didn't just fall into this, but they get that perception of, they watch influencers or whoever. It's like, oh, this 19-year-old kid has 5 Lambos and, a giant mansion. It's like, okay, that's 0.001% of the population. Most of us can work hard and still achieve a lot if you're willing to do it, and it doesn't have to be financial, you know what I mean? But it's like, if you have a goal, you can do it, but they have that perception of, they see that little glass, little glass eye lens into somebody's life where it's all perfect and everything's good and easy, that they think
absolutely.
if it's not that way for me, it's not going to happen.
I feel it. Well, we've been going on for about 2 hours now. I know it's a Saturday. People got things to do. So yet again, I want to thank everybody for being here. We just go on like around the circle and like final thoughts.
Zombie, what you think?
Oh, we start in the middle with Zombie. Okay, that's fine.
Hold up, give me 1 second. No, yeah, it's good to be able to like get these things out. As I've learned like via experience myself. I know part of where this started was talking about how like certain relationships you have with friends that allows you to like, you guys can shoot the shit and also talk shit to each other. And for me, it in like a weird sense, or at least like from what I'm experiencing, it feels like I feel like I can say a lot more. If I could say like the most cruel thing to you and we can laugh about it or whatever, I feel like I can, on the other end of that spectrum, I can just be like, yo dog, I really appreciate you. And it's easier for that to come out just the same way as it is to like, you know what, you're so dog water, you'll never beat me in a 1v1, you know? Like, just to say those things to your friends, I feel like the opposite can come out just as easy as well now too, as well.
Yeah.
And it's also like creating a space for your friends, and what Jay kind of said or touched upon about saying when you like open up, and I'm not saying like many people have experienced it where like you open up with someone and they kind of just go, I'm really tired of getting like cliche responses, you know, just like condolences,
Thoughts and prayers.
yeah, and or not that I'm just saying that exactly, it's just like, okay, so to the point, yeah, it's a trash can, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just
no, yeah, it's true. It's like to the point that like I stopped bringing up certain things because I'm tired of having like the same like scheduled dialogue of like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Is this what you're doing? It's like, oh, this is like what happened to you, condolences. And like, I'm just tired of just repeating the same scripted things over and over again. And then someone like at some point or another, some people stop you and they're just like, you used to smile when you walk around and saying good morning to everybody, and I didn't even hear you say good morning once to somebody. Is everything okay? And I'm just like, oh shit, you know, like I didn't realize I was doing that. I didn't realize that I was dragging my when I'm walking around, and then someone stops you and then asks you that type of thing, and that's the big difference, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the friendship thing. Having friends, creating a space for people, it's really good. And for those who haven't been able to just like let go or unload, and not knowing what that's like, to I don't want to say advertise, but promote that space also. So you never know, like we always say, you never know what someone's going through. And until you ask or they tell you, you're just like, damn, this is what you've been going through this whole time.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of a dick to you, and I apologize. Or like, I've been giving it to you rough, and life's already been shafting you. I don't have to do it too, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I live by the lesson, or I live by the rule of I ask you okay. I ask if you're okay out of like the courtesy thing, but then I ask you okay because I really want to know. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I mean like, are you okay? Like that's my like enough of the bullshit. Like I get your default answers. Yeah, I'm good.
The default answer is I'm okay or I'm good.
Scripted,
yeah. And like, nah, I'm not. I want to know, are you okay? Like, I don't want the default. Like, come on. That's why I usually ask twice. And people are like, I just told you I'm okay. And that's when I'm like, Yeah, but I really want to know if you're good. Like I don't want the bullshit. Like that's why I ask you again because I care.
Not to be grim, but like one day someone's not going to be able to respond. I'm okay anymore.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be able to respond ever again. And I've been saying
Mm-hmm.
some shit like that where it's just like, I'd rather have you say something back than I never be able to talk to you again. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
We just need to adopt
100%.
what they do in Europe. Worked with some Austrians when I was working at Glock, and guy comes walking. I'm like, "You doing all right?" And he's like, "What? No." I was like, "Oh shit."
Yo, that's crazy. Oh,
No, you couldn't fix my problems. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get to my machine.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to my machine. I'm gonna just go,
All right.
okay. I'm just go work on these gun frames. I'll see you later, sir. Like,
Yeah.
but that just having that level of openness and honesty, like holy shit, that's some crude vulnerability.
No,
Sure.
I get it. I get it. Let's see. Hurricane. Any final thoughts, my dude?
to be honest, I think what's helping, men's health is places like Twitch and Discord. With everything going on with Twitch that I don't agree with, at least that area, because look, I like talking with Vop and anybody here, but I feel like it's something extra when like I'm here in the comfort of my own home, knowing that you guys are okay. Talk, you get me? Like yesterday, I spoke with my boy that I haven't spoken to in years, and we were watching SmackDown together, and we were just in Discord, just chilling, talking shit, watching SmackDown, and like I never really thought like, cause my mentality was always like, okay, I gotta go to your house, but there ain't no way I'm gonna go to your house because you live however far away. This is a good um venue that you could just chill, and it doesn't matter how far a person is. It gives you that opportunity to get that reconnection. Because at the end of the day, I feel like we're very tribal in nature. Back in the day, we all used to live in a community. Like we all used to like people had roles to do. And now since everything with technology, you're kind of forced with work and everything to be separated. This kind of gives you that substitute to have a community without actually being a next door neighbor. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah. What's up, zombie?
So- Oh, I just wanted to add on to that was a friend of mine told me about this thing called third spaces, and a lot of times that used to be like a bar for people. Like
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
like you get off of work, you go to a bar, or there's an area where it's like people will be at, or you can just be like when you go to work, you're gonna see a worker, your supervisor, or just you're gonna see there. You go to a bar, you're probably gonna be like, oh, I'm probably gonna see like a usual there that I can talk to and stuff like that. Like Discord and by extension, Discord, Twitch together, and by extension, create a third space also for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Like
for
that
sure.
same concept of a third space for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's important to have, like you were saying, Hurricane. That's like my brother and I. We have Bro Day, which is the day my brother and I hang out and we play video games together. That's what we do. That's what we both enjoy. So we have a set day where we just like we're playing New Game Plus on Grounded. As we picked a game, well, he picked the game. Whatever. I don't necessarily care, but I feel like that's the important thing to do it. And that's how we are able to spend time together because he lives on the other side of the country. Like we live it's a 36-hour drive if I was to go to his house.
Hmm.
I can't make that drive. I drove out here to do that, and I don't I don't want to make that drive again. And as good as I eat, I don't have the money to make those flights back and forth on a regular basis. But it's absolutely a good space for sure. Aspire. You
Yes.
you got your final thoughts in here? Yo, what up, Delta?
Well, I appreciate you having me out here. It's actually really great to actually meet more people that have similar but different stories and get a lot of different experiences. And like especially like this, and talking about topics like this. I mean, I like when I go to the college, I'm normally like one of the oldest people there, and people constantly ask me for like advice or what's going on or my take on things from either like a veteran perspective or just an older person perspective. I'm not even 30 yet. Goddamn, I feel old. But either way, the learning other people's experiences like this is definitely one of the things that helps me broaden my perspective on things, because a lot of people can get stuck in their little bubble and their perspectives, and they never really open themselves to other issues or what other people go through. And there are lessons that everyone has that can be passed on, whether you have the trauma associated or not. Like a lot of things I learned from, you know, other people I talk to, or I go through personal experiences. There are times where I'd be in a conversation, someone be like talking about like a hypothetical situation. I'm like, oh, I had a story like that. I talked to this guy who had the exact same scenario pop up. Here's how they dealt with it. And kind of pass on that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So I think places like this are what allow us to learn lessons that don't have a trauma associated with it, and that helps us grow as people.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
It's good to share experiences. I like to think there's 3 types of people on the planet. There's smart people, there's wise people, and there's stupid people. Smart people learn from other people's mistakes. Wise people learn from their own mistakes, and stupid people, well, they never learn from the mistakes.
Nope.
So I feel like being able to share without, like you said, sharing that trauma is an important factor in life, just period. To be able to do. A little Rod Daddy, J Rod, you want to? Would you like to share some final thoughts?
You trying to talk flirty with me?
I mean,
yeah. No, I mean, I like I said, when I started on Twitch, it like, to kind of to piggyback off what Hurricane said, like I started on Twitch, it's just something to do, honestly, and then it like I've joked that it's like it became therapy because you meet a lot of people that are going through maybe not the same struggle, but a similar struggle or just their own struggles, and like you can relate to that. And I've always kind of joked, it's like, there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's like we're all children, really, at the end of the day. Like, we're all people, we're all humans. So it's like it takes a village for us to get through the world. And meeting, being on Twitch, it's like you meet that village. You make your own little village out of people on Twitch. And as much as like there's lots of pitfalls and issues with social media, I consider Twitch a social media site, but it's like I've met so many incredible people that have helped me out and checked on me and things like that. Like, Vop invited me to this. Vop messages me pretty consistently, like, hey, you good? Stuff like that. It's like sometimes you have to stop and realize that like you have that community and there's people that genuinely care and want to, like you said, I think we all fall into that trap of like when somebody says, are you good? We just like default to, yeah, it is what it is. Or, I'm all good. And it's like you have people that genuinely want to answer. Like, they wouldn't be messaging you on Discord in a DM if they didn't genuinely want to know. And so it's like it's really helped me personally get out of some of those darker headspaces and realize that like, like a lot of times we go through that trauma, we feel worthless or we feel like we don't deserve love or attention or care, whatever it is. And it's like Twitch helped me realize, like, it was a big tool for me to realize, like, yeah, people genuinely care about me. Like, some people I've never met in real life, like, they still care and they still want to know what's up. And so it's like you can use it for good. It's kind of that double-edged sword of like, social media has a lot of negatives, but it's got a lot of positives too.
Yep.
So like we have to, as we have to leverage that. And I think as not to say women don't struggle with this too, but as men, it's like I feel like we struggle with like we have to put on that strong persona all the time, and present ourselves as a way of being like, yeah, like you said, everything's all good, dude. Like I'll handle it. And sometimes it's like you got to have those people. Like find those people. If you don't have them, I guarantee you probably do, and you may not know it. But it's like find those people that you can be like, yeah, dude, stuff isn't good right now. Like I think we all probably could look in the mirror and say like, man, I need to be a better friend. Like like Zombie was saying, like again, I'll just pick on my boy Castle again. It's like, dude, I talk so much shit to that guy. Like I've said meaner things to him than I have anybody, and it's all out of love. You know what I mean? Like it's a back and forth thing, but it's like, man, I probably should do a better job of being like, yo, dude, are you good? Like stuff really, like sometimes we have to take that step too and be like, yo, man, like I'm here for you. Like tell me what's up. Like I know like you seemed off or whatever it is. I'm here for you, And I think that's something that we just all have to do is just take that moment out of your day to give back. Cause like Vop was saying, like that'll help you too. Like if you offload somebody else's traumas or their pain or depression or whatever it is, that's going to help you too. Cause that gives you an outlet to have that back and forth with them. And then you end up feeling better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my favorite moments on Twitch, is actually, I cried on stream. One of my Marines had just died, and it's after my divorce. And I remember I was playing Fallout, and J-Rod was there, and we were sitting there talking. And so like one of my Marines had died from cancer, and I remember J-Rod was like, I'm just dealing with this myself. And he was giving me insight on how he felt and his struggles and everything, and I just broke down. And it was one of my favorite, not my favorite moments, but it was one of my best moments because like I felt like I was like, this is a platform I can be real on, and people aren't going to be like, look at you, you little bitch, you're crying on the internet, like it was a moment where I was like, I'm a grown ass man, I'm expressing my feelings, and it's okay, and we absolutely need those people in those places to be able to do it, and I'm grateful. This is not sponsored by Twitch, but I'm grateful for Twitch to be able to have. I could be sponsored. You call me. Absolutely. You have my phone number. Yeah, you have my phone number. You have my
bank account. Yeah,
you call me. Yeah, but absolutely. Like I'm grateful for this space to be able to do that type of stuff. So you're absolutely, definitely right. Audacity, you don't have to share. You've been very quiet and up there just chilling. I appreciate you being here. You don't have to share if you'd like to, but any final thoughts?
I think the biggest thing for me is I don't know a lot of these people. I mean, I really just know you and Hurricane.
It's okay.
I'm a single dad. I have a 2-year-old son. Anytime I wonder why I'm still here, I think of that little menace to society.
Yeah.
Because seeing him smile, hearing his laugh, man, that ain't nothing like it in the world.
Yeah. I credit my son has saved my life, and he doesn't even know it. Yep. There were times where like when I was in the Marine Corps that I just was like, I'm done. This pack I'm carrying is too heavy. The weight of it is so much. And then I see that little ginger bastard, and I'm like, I can't. That's me, and I was like, you know what? It's not so heavy anymore, So I get it, man. Like kids are having someone in general to be able to motivate you just to take another step, just to wake up another morning, is I'm grateful I have that. And I know some people don't, and it makes me sad that people don't have that. They don't have that to be able to rely on, So it's hold on to it, because next thing you know, they'll be like, oh, I'm getting my driver's license. And you're like, fuck, now I've got to pay insurance. Is going to go through the roof. Like, yeah.
And that's my responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. For a few more years, it is. Absolutely. My little caramel king. Can you Can you share some final thoughts you have, please?
Yeah, building off of what Aspire said is like places like this, literally what you have organized today. You know, the more opportunities we get to be open and vulnerable and discuss, whether it's struggles, feelings, past things we've dealt with, traumas, and even in growth, in therapy moments and stuff like that. The more comfortable we feel, and then we branch out and we do it to other people, and then it gets them to feel comfortable with it, and it's just kind of this domino effect that can really take place. So shit like this is extremely important. Especially once I started therapy and I understood my why, I grew more compassionate towards my parents' journeys, understanding their mental struggles and stuff. And then it's like you kind of realize, everybody's always dealing with something. With your closest friends, you can kind of recognize things and kind of, I got a friend who's dealing with like parental stuff, them getting old and whatnot. Being someone who took care of their parents, like, hey, get ahead of this, please, start therapy. Like, I would highly suggest it just for the sake of you having someone to talk to that can help you deal with that. And I was telling him this maybe like a year ago, and knowing that he's finally started that, he started that process not too long ago. It's like, this is, and hearing him talk and be like, I'm getting ahead of it, I'm this and that. I'm like, I'm glad you are now, because hearing the frustration you had back then, it's not there. Like, you're still dealing with the same issues, but you don't have the level of frustration and angst that you used to speak with it of. So again, like, it's this domino effect, and doing that with him, he's gonna be able to tell somebody else, like, hey, you should fucking talk to somebody, because it helped me. My friend told me that, and it helped him. So it's just this stopping process that can just fucking help.
Yeah. That's what it's kind of about, is you spread that kindness and comfort, and then people will take that and then spread it to somebody else. It's like a good kind of like herpes. It's like a happy, healthier herpes. It's emotional herpes. Like, is you spread
any
that
other reference, but yeah,
could have the gift. I throw that back to Lizzie because she talked about it earlier, the glitter herpes. But it's the comfortness, and then you learn like, I've learned something from everyone that's in here right now. I've learned something, and I've adopted it into my life, and it's become something that I try to help. Whereas in a space for others to be able to express themselves. Like J-Rod was saying, like, I reach out to a lot of people just to make sure they're okay, because I know what it's like to not be okay and just sit and fester in it, and it's those things that when I needed someone, there was one person there for me, and that kindness saved my life, and I'm here. And so it's like, I felt that I felt when I was alone, somebody was there. And that's why I try to spread that to others. Try to do moments like this, because you know what? Like, someone will take something from this watching or being here and give it to somebody else. And then that person will be like, that made my day better. I'm going to make somebody else's day better. And it's one of those things that it sucks that these things happen so sparsely as men, but it's something that, like, I want to do more often, but it's sucks that it has to be under the guise of, well, it's Men's Mental Health Month. Like, why does it have to be a month? Like it's, but it's one of those things that, like you're saying, the group aspect helps spread it to others, and that's kind of just, it's kind of just what I'm trying to do, and I'm very grateful for everybody listening, but especially you guys coming in here and making yourselves vulnerable. That is not an easy thing to do. And everybody has struggles with making themselves being vulnerable, because we are taught being vulnerable makes you weak.
You make me vulnerable.
Yep.
Yeah. and that's why my pants are tight. And see, you just uncomfortably make jokes, you know. But it's being vulnerable. I think makes you an actual stronger person, because it's like going to the gym. You know, when you lift a weight, you tear your muscles, and then they regrow back stronger. Being vulnerable is that emotional muscle that gets teared, and then you grow, and it grows back stronger. You know, and I would beg to differ. People used to, like when I was in the Marine Corps, I had to, when I came back from Iraq, you have to see a psychologist. It's mandatory. And they ask you all these questions. And most people are like, I'm good. I'm fine. I said, I'm not good. I'm fucked up. I saw some shit that I didn't want to see, and it will haunt me for the rest of my life. And so I would go to therapy, and people would be like, oh, look at that bitch. Fill in name and rank is such a bitch. And then I would be like, you want to say that to my face? I'll beat the bitch out of you. Like, I don't feel like expressing my emotions makes me weak. But if you think it makes me weak, show me how weak I am.
Step outside, see who's weak.
Yeah, exactly. And being a McMap instructor, I could be like, yo, we're gonna go run some McMap, which is Marine Corps martial arts program, and be like, oh, I'm so weak. Well, let's go do some McMap training, and we'll share some light on that. So this is my final thought. Every time I end stream, I end it. You guys have probably heard it. It's I thank everyone for their support. Tell everybody to remember who you are. I had a teacher say that to me in elementary school or in high school. And when we would leave class every day and walk out, she's like, remember who you are. I'm like, the fuck is, look at this lady, whatever. And I asked her one day, and she told me that she wants people to remember who they are, because under tough times, when everything's in chaos, if you remember who you are, you remember your morals, and you remember who you are, that'll get you through the toughest times in your life. And so that has stuck with me every day of my life. And that's why it is what it is. That's why I say, thank you for your support. Remember who you are, and see you in the next one. Is because at the end of when you're in tough times, you remember who you are. You'll come out on top every time. And if you don't, you pick yourself up. You're still you. You didn't fold and become somebody else. You stayed yourself. That was a W in my book.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, thank you guys for coming out. I absolutely would love to do these again.
Yes.
So do it.
With people.
Yeah.
I will be, and I'll be
fucking
reaching
do
out.
Good.
And I'll be reaching out to everybody for definite more invites, because I feel like this is something that I will never forget. And this is something that I feel I genuinely feel better. Like, my soul feels better that I've been able to talk, express my feelings, and hear other people who are struggling with their own lives take, a few hours out of their lives to just be vulnerable. So I thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
For real, this was
Absolutely.
cool.
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here.
I am home.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Hey,
All right, man.
deuces.
Later.